So the debate yesterday with Breast Cancer Now was really looking at two issues. How much do we invest on understanding more about the causes of breast cancer, and how much do we spend and invest on prevention strategies? And the motion was that we're probably spending too much on causes. We know enough about the causes of breast cancer. It's time to get on and invest those limited funds into prevention strategies. So for the motion we had Gareth and Annie Anderson, and they were really making the point that we knew dozens of genes that predispose people to cancer, and finding one more SNP wasn't going to change very much. And we knew that alcohol and obesity and pregnancies and all this sort of thing related to breast cancer. We needed to get on with chemoprevention trials and lifestyle intervention trials. And they maintained that not only were those feasible, but they would make a huge difference to outcomes. On the other hand, we had Tim Key and Doug Easton saying, well, actually, we don't know enough about the causes. So, yeah, we know that if you breastfeed, you're less likely to get breast cancer. If you have your children early, you're less likely to get breast cancer. But we have no idea how or what the real mechanisms are. These are 1970s observations that we really haven't progressed any further, and we really need to understand how those causes result in the high risk and high rates of breast cancer that we now experience. Because if we don't do that, then how do we intervene? How do we fool, if you like, a woman into thinking that, or her body thinking that she's been pregnant at an early age? How do we get that protective effect across into a patient? And of course, we don't know how to do that. We can't get every young girl pregnant at 13. That is not socially acceptable. But there might be a pharmacological way that you could do that if you really understood the mechanisms. So, usual debate style. It started off actually very much down the middle, 50-50 in terms of what the audience felt. I have to say that Gareth and Annie did win the debate. They did actually sway a smallish proportion of the audience across to saying, yeah, let's just get on and spend money on prevention. But it was a small shift. As clinicians, we shouldn't be shy about saying that lifestyle is partly to blame. I'm as guilty as the next person. I hardly ever say to my patients, you shouldn't be drinking. We all know that alcohol is a risk factor for breast cancer, but because we all drink, we kind of shy away from that. So I think it's clinicians taking ownership of the problems and communicating those to patients. I think it's also about partnerships in terms of research funding, because clearly weight loss, exercise, some of the lifestyle effects, they're not just good for reducing breast cancer, they're good for all sorts of other aspects of healthcare. And so why shouldn't Breast Cancer Now and British Heart Foundation, for example, actually get together and support some interventional work?